What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Reverse Scoop with Adam. How you doing, Nabil?
Hey Adam, how you doing, man?
Very
Another week,
good.
bro.
Another week
Dealing with
on
the
the
cold.
scoop. Another week on the
Yeah,
scoop.
bro.
Freezing today. Absolutely
Yeah, man.
freezing.
Oh,
Took
dude,
a trip into the city today. But yeah, got to look at the Natural History Museum. They should have a
nice.
few more cricket things in there. The Australia exhibit, very tiny, very small, very small. Gonna make it bigger. Gonna make it bigger. But yeah,
That's cool, man.
how's
You had a city trip
yeah.
today, huh?
Yeah, city trip. A very my once a year trip to the city. Once a year I get to the New York. I probably should get out there more, probably play a little bit of cricket, maybe see a little bit of cricket. They do play cricket in New York. Cricket happens over there.
Lots of cricket in
But
New York, man. Lots of
love the
cricket
cricket
in New
in New
York.
York. Yeah. Wish I had some nice better fields out there. Someone's going to get out and make some nicer fields. None of this Hessian mat. For the guys that are tuning in, maybe this is they've gone a little sideways here, but if you don't realize in America, if you're in a cricketing nation, like Australia, England, whatever, in America, a lot of cricket is played on Hessian bags, like a Hessian mat that's like clay, no grass, just clay rolled, and then you put a Hessian bag over the top, nail it into the ground. That is your wicket. Not a lot of grass on those fields. Not a lot of grass. But
Yeah,
luckily for Nabil and I, we play for clubs that do have had nice investment, personal and from the town, to help build some nice cricket grounds. We have synthetic wickets, concrete with synthetic on top. Pretty sure you also have a real wicket over in New Milford, correct?
yeah, we do. We have a turf, which is very hard to maintain. So it's been a learning process, last like couple of years trying to, find obviously the time and being able to have it ready for the season because we're in a very cold part of the world, so the for the surfaces to dry it takes quite longer than an average drier place. So some challenges here in the Northeast, maintaining turf wickets, but you mentioned some newer fields. There has been some newer fields in the upstate New York area, where we've seen some under 19 cricket, some national under 19 hub tournaments that happen there, under 23s as well, I believe, So fields are, starting to get up, cities packed with some decent fields as well. And, there's, thousands and thousands of people playing cricket in New York. So, really, really big market out there, but tonight, obviously, we're here to talk about the women's under 19 USA women's team, under 19, team and their prospects in this upcoming World Cup. I believe they're about to play a warm up game against Nepal, if I'm not mistaken. You can
Yes,
check me up on
Nepal.
that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the women's under 19s kicked off their warm up against New Zealand, which they had a big win against New Zealand. That was very good for us. The New Zealand won the toss. We were put into bat. Slow start. Everyone kind of chipped in. Ritu Singh, she scored 36 off 27, top scoring there for us. 3 4s, 1 6, striking at 133. And then coming into bowl, we shone in the bowling. So Sanvi Imadi, she took 3 for 16 or 4. Great figures there. And Isani Valgela, she took 3 for 26 or 4. So there was a big batting collapse there at some point. I think it was 3 of those wickets came in 8 balls. So we did very good winning that game. And this comes off the back of our trip in South Africa. We stopped in South Africa for a couple games before we went to Malaysia. We're in Malaysia for the World Cup, under 19s Women's World Cup. We knocked off South Africa in our last game, so that was really good. Now leading into this game, we want to get into New Zealand, and then in a few hours' time in Malaysia, we will play, like Nabil said, we will play Nepal.
Yeah, man. I mean, and the team makeup for this particular warm up. What do you think? Like, the team makeup will be if you look at their last 11 that they had played again. I believe in another warm up match against New Zealand.
So Dishra
where you
Dindra,
already
she scored 100 in the game against South Africa, so she opens the batting for them. So I believe now currently 2 of our batters have scored hundreds in the past few games. I forget who scored the other 100, but that 100 was just last month. There was 100 that was scored. So there is
Yeah.
plenty of potential there in the side. Lots of runs that can be scored. Also, like the bowling, we came through with the bowling. Everyone kind of chipped in. Everyone was very economical. We restricted New Zealand. They couldn't reach
Yeah.
the 120 in their 20 overs. So that's also a very good sign. And so and in the matchups, within the matchups, we have the way these groups work. They have the Nepal match will be a tough match. We won't actually face Nepal in any of the group stages. So in the group stages, we will face England, Pakistan, and who's the other? And Scotland, I believe. England, Pakistan, and no, I got that wrong. England, Pakistan,
Yeah.
and one other team. And then what happens at that stage is the top three, Ireland. Yeah, that's what it is, Ireland. Ireland, Pakistan, England. So how it works is it is 4 groups of 4. And then if you make the top 3 of your pool, you go through to the Super 6 stage. And there'll be 2 Super 6 pools. Pool B plays with Pool C, and Pool A plays with Pool D. So what is really good for us is that we're actually going to skip India and Australia. So we'll miss them. India and Australia in pools A and D. So we're actually going to be, if all you have to do is win 2 out of the 3 games to guarantee a spot, and then we will play most likely New Zealand and South Africa in the Super Sixes, which will actually be good because we just won against them. So it looks really good for us.
Yeah, I think it's some good prospects, man, and the team itself also, is done well. They've been coming really hot at the right time. I feel like so. I think they can, really come to the party and lift that cup and really give a tough time to any of these teams at this tournament. Which is great for future of women's cricket here. In America, because obviously, the future is bright with these young stars that that we have, and I see USA Cricket's been putting a lot of good content out, showing off, these players, because, they deserve to be in the limelight, due to a lot of the challenges, that we see here in the Northeast, right? Because, first of all, the pool of players that, we have in the women's game is not really that huge at the moment. And to be able to collectively, put out good talent, I believe it's a really really good job, by the selectors and everybody else involved in the process. Because again, the women's game here is I feel more matured in a sense that we have more things were find out that the men's game and it's been more successful over the long haul in USA Cricket. So really good to see, hoping that, they win that warm up game tonight and go into that first match, looking to, win. And, team makeup, I was going to, talk about, with you, Adam, because, we got a squad of 15. I'm going to first, let's bring up the squad right on the screen. Anika Kolan is the captain. Then Aditi Chudasma, who's the captain of the USA team, is the vice captain here. Chetna Reddy Pagidala. I have messed that name up. Chetna Prasad, Disha Dingra, Isani Vagila, Lika Shetty, and it's getting hard to see these names, man. Hold on, give me a second. It's
I see them. I see
on
them on
my
my
screen.
screen.
They come off much
My
much
screen's
smaller,
nice
so
and
I'm gonna pull it up on a
big.
much bigger image.
Yeah. No, but so the top order, I
Oh
think
yeah,
Chetna Reddy and
not
Disha
mine. So
Dingra.
Mavi Madhavan. Yeah,
You go see him now. Yeah,
yeah,
Chetna Reddy and Disha Dingra, they've been
I
able
can
to
see him.
score
Yeah,
hundreds. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You can keep going at him.
Oh yeah, so they've scored hundreds. And then the rest of the squad, we got Pooja Ganesh, Pooja Shah, Ritu Singh, just top scored. And then you got
Yeah,
Savani Imadi, and then the last 2 there. So I'm not sure. Like obviously this is a 15-person squad.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean
I want to.
it's a good squad.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I want to pull up their last team makeup that actually
Yeah, who was in the last game?
Played that game. Where I think Sanvi, Madi, and Nisani Vigila, they both had 3 furs. Bowled well. So I think they're definitely going to add to that team makeup. In a big game. And if we look further down, I'm just trying to find some more details on the women's. There's not a lot of details out there. They were in South Africa, I believe, as well before, right?
Yeah, so they played
Going
South
off to
Africa.
Malaysia. They
Yeah, and they won.
had,
They won over there. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, so they won their game. That game
Yeah,
was
so they're coming off
they
of a nice
scored.
high, and
Yeah, they scored 155, and then they bowled them out, or restricted South Africa.
nice. Yeah, yeah. So, so Anika Kolan, Aditi Chudasma, Chetna Reddy, Chetna Prasad, Disha Dingra, Ishani Vagila, Lika Shetty, Pooja Ganesh, Ritu Singh, Sanvi Imadian, Sasha Vela Beneni. I think I got that right. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
that was the makeup against South Africa, the last played. So I think they probably stick to this winning formula, that they've been going with.
Yeah. And then so yes, Savi Imari, she is bowling spin. So yeah, that's a good leg spin right there. So yeah, the leg spin she took, there were 120 for 8, and then she took 3 wickets in the space of 8 balls, sparking the collapse. So yeah. So that's good. That good signs right there.
Yeah, that's good, man. Who do you see being the like the top player from the entire team to come to the party in this under 19 World Cup, and who really you think is the future star of USA women's game? You see
I
any talent,
saw
good,
if
like
you
good?
can go back
Who do you
if
would
you
you
can go back to
suggest?
that picture for me. I saw some really good footage of the keeper. Who's got the
There,
gloves? Does it say there who has the gloves? I'm gonna find who has the
wicket
gloves.
keeper. I don't think they've announced the wicket keeper on here, but it's got.
But whoever has
I think it's Captain Anika Kolan, if I'm not mistaken. Wicket keeps.
that could be, yeah. Whoever has the gloves has phenomenal hands. I saw some video clips
Yeah,
of that, and it was like the stumping was phenomenal stumping. Yeah, I think all around there's runs there all around for the top order. And they bat pretty deep. Like Ritu, she bats down there at like 6 or 7.
yeah.
And she's able to chip in, and like in the other games, Chetner and Disher were able to score hundreds. So it feels like in these games, someone's able to hang around and score the runs, and then they're able to chip in with the ball too. So yeah, and it's one of these things like, if you see it like right now, the women's game obviously is developing. Like Australia right now, they have the Ashes right now. The England and they're trying to make the Ashes a women's thing also. So they have this thing over there now in Australia where they're doing a couple T20s, a couple one days, and then one test match. And then they're making basically a point system, and they're trying to like really blow that up in Australia and kind of make that, because obviously the growth of women's cricket is obviously growing, and they're trying to do more for that. So having the Ashes kind of next to the women's team is kind of blowing up. So it's good to see us doing some things. And obviously we made the World Cup this year. So this is the first time. This is only the second under 19s women's World Cup. So last year was the first year. India won that. England runners up. And this year there was an inclusion of many more teams. So this year we have Samoa, there's Malaysia, there's a couple of other nations that aren't, normally in the mix that are included in this World Cup, which is also good to see, spreading it around the world. I mean, it's a world sport. So that's good. And then you hope for this kind of all like filters up in a way where it's like we have the ability to play more games throughout the year, have more of these tournaments. I think I'm more for having tournament style play than having like one-off series. Like I feel like it's hard to kind of fly everyone around the world, especially when there's not a lot of hype around it, not a lot of money made from it. I think it's a lot better if you bring everyone. We mentioned this last week on the podcast, like have more tournaments, bring everyone to one place for one time, pack out the stadiums, have everyone play, in neighboring stadiums or whatever, and then have your couple week tournament and then call it a day. Everyone gets to play everyone. Everyone gets the experience, and then you move on with your lives. And I think it's a better way to do it than having one-off things. You're probably you're in agreement with that, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think inclusivity has to be the number one, focus for ICC and for all boards around the world, because we got to make sure that there's cricket, growing everywhere, right? Because you're essentially increasing your market, right? When you're even if I know everybody likes to look at it from a business standpoint, right? Even in the ICC. So even from that standpoint, when you grow and bring more people into the game, you're growing the game, right? So at the end of the day, it's going to benefit everybody. And that focus, being first and foremost for ICC is crucial, than trying to make money, right now. Because I think, they've gone sideways, I feel a little bit with their T20 vision and, trying to cater to obviously, the faster versions a lot more. I mean, I think there's place for T20 cricket, right? But I think we're kind of shifting the entire market space, into that sphere, which I don't know if it's right or not, but that focus of inclusivity has to be there, continue to provide opportunities to, for teams to compete at a top level. And I think this under 19 women's World Cup, it's going to showcase that, USA women's team will punch above their weight like USA, men's team did at the World Cup. So, I'm expecting similar performances. I'm expecting them to make the top 8, into this World Cup, and then you never know what happens after that, right?
Yeah, because you
So,
got to consider that these girls are going to filter into the Opens women's team. Same with the
absolutely,
under 19. They're going to filter into the men's team,
yeah,
and it's all heading towards the Olympics because they're going to have
yeah,
both women's and men's team in the Olympics. So this under 19s team right now are like on track to play in the Olympic team. Like that's what you would expect for
yeah,
2028. They're 3 years away from that. That's half of this squad would be playing, depending on who we have in the Opens team already,
yeah,
who's available, who's not available, form, that kind of thing. But, it's exciting. It's exciting time. And it's one of those once in a lifetime opportunities where you get to play in the Olympics because cricket hasn't been in the Olympics and USA hasn't really been participating or doesn't get the exposure it does to cricket. And now we have an opportunity where some cricketers are going to play in the World Cup. I'm sorry, playing the Olympics. They're going to play as well as the World Cup. Each of the World Cups coming up because we have both ODI and T20 World Cup happening before the Olympics, so which we'll both be participating in. So
yeah,
it all looks good. It all looks good for
yeah.
Team
No,
USA.
absolutely, man. I think so too. And the future, as we know, said it's bright with these girls. But how do we look to increase the pool, of players? Because obviously, with such little resources, we've still been able to, put together solid teams, solid, especially in the women's game. There's a lot more, players available in the men's, game here in USA cricket, but women's cricket has lacked the numbers. So how do you suggest we, kind of go about growing that number? And it has grown recently, right? With the growth of cricket here, we've naturally seen a lot of, girls pick up a cricket bat and a cricket ball. But how do we approach that growth and how do we, scale it and keep it on the right path?
Yeah, so like I mean, coming from Australia where we have women's cricket, it's isolated. Women's cricket is isolated. That's the best word I can phrase it with. So we have regional cricket, which you play club cricket for, and inside that regional cricket, generally the women are playing with the men. So like when I played, my sister played. I had other girls playing on my team. For them to go and play in a women's team, they had to travel to Sydney, like actually go to a major hub where they had a hub of teams that played, probably like 6 teams inside of that hub. So here in America, obviously we have 50 states and major USA. So where those hubs are, probably going to have to be Texas and the Carolinas where they have the big grounds and stuff like that. I know a lot of our team is kind of spread out between LA, Texas, Florida, some people up in Michigan area, I believe some of the girls are. So basically it's just about getting those hubs set up because you have to. It's impossible. It's going to be impossible for America to have 50 teams or 50 places to play cricket. So you have to have the kind of isolate it and bring them together. And then it's going to have to be one of those things where if they want to play in those leagues with not play with the men, obviously, make those leagues in one place. So it's like whether you set up two different hubs, an East Coast, West Coast, have like a Texas and an LA league, and they have to go move there, live there kind of thing, like and play in those leagues. That's probably really the only way that you could do it, unless they play with the guys. And I mean, for the under 19s, they're technically eligible to play. Like, I think, but again, we don't have club cricket, under 19s cricket, and under cricket like set up here, where like when in Pakistan or Australia or England, you have under 12s through under 19 grade level cricket. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when I played under 15s, I'm playing first grade under 15 cricket in my region, and then there's second grade, third grade, fourth grade just for that age bracket, and then you go on and on from there. But like we don't have because you don't have the pool of people, especially for the women. They would have to basically say make a league somewhere, or maybe 2 or 3 hubs over, and then you have to like go to that hub to play. That's really going to be how you do it. Or for the girls coming in at like the under 15s, under 16s, under 17s, they're just playing with the boys in those club levels. But I don't think we even have those club levels set up, unless you can tell me otherwise. I don't think we have under 19.
Yeah. No, there's some work being done. There's ideas flying around of having more female teams, even in men's leagues, around New York, here in Connecticut, but again, it's being able to connect, the number of female players that are in each area, right? For example, we're here in Connecticut, and then there's, teams in New York that have interest, right? But not enough interest, within certain clubs to have a one full female team. So it just needs to be a more organized approach, as you said, to bring them together, rather it be through a hub or rather it be through, anything, that we can get them together and play. And, that would definitely increase the playing time, right? But like actually attracting, more women and more girls to the game, I think is going to require having, the right role models, right? These under 19 stars that we have, once they get, the limelight that they deserve, they're going to become role models to the next generation, right? So like I think it's just time and being able to, create stars within the USA cricketing system that we have. It's going to lead us to, future stars, more future stars, right? More girls picking up a cricket bat and ball. So, that again should be another focus for USA cricket, is to create role models and stars within, our ecosystem here. So, we can develop, more youth, to get involved. So I think that's another way for us to go about it. But,
no, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head with the stars. Like, for example, like rugby's on the rise here in the US because Ilona Maher, she's the most followed rugby player of all rugby players, not just men's, women's, South Africa, Australia, All Blacks, whatever. She's the most followed out of all of them, millions and millions of followers.
Yeah.
And Americans are getting involved in cricket, not just Americans, more specifically, American women are watching rugby, learning rugby, following rugby because of one person. They had no intention of ever watching rugby in their life. They probably never watch American football. And now they're getting involved in a sport that's not national to America, even though it is played here in college, but they're getting involved in rugby. So the same thing will apply to cricket. Cricket needs a face. Cricket, and especially doesn't matter really for women or for men, but like having a personality on social that's being able to like inspire others, and their side hustle is their sport. That is what gets people excited about the sport, because now people are excited about rugby. That's what we need for cricket, because you can't just put it, because we can sit here all day and say, oh, ESPN needs to talk about cricket more and sports media needs to talk about cricket more. Well, they're never going to do that. But it's she's advancing rugby through her personality, and rugby has become a side thing that people are wanting to follow. So, I think that is the again, and in the chat, just like Luke Littler with the darts, exactly. So Luke Littler, 17-year-old guy, I don't know if you saw this, blowing up the darts world. I love my darts. I think darts is absolutely phenomenal. Love
Oh
watching
yeah,
it.
that art is awesome.
17 years old. He's beating Van Gerwen. He's beating Taylor. He's beating all the guys over there in England, and it's getting people excited about darts because it's a young guy.
Yeah,
He's playing darts. Darts is a very entry level sport. Like obviously, it takes a lot to hit
yeah,
triple 80. 180, but anyone could go pick up a dart and play darts and learn darts and go down to the pub and have a fun game playing darts. It's very entry level. I mean, like you just pick up a dart and throw it and have fun.
yeah,
But he's getting people involved in the sport. So that's what sports need. Sports like cricket needs someone from the USA on both sides of the fence, men's and women's, to like really start hyping up how cool it is. And I mean, that's where we come in. Like that's what part of my profile is. It's just like
yeah.
talking about cricket, explaining it, making it more fun for the Americans to get involved. And I think that's what women need too.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. The more stars, we get. I mean, we look at into our days of cricket, right? Like, we got into cricket by looking at, the stars that we followed in our country. Wasim Akram for me. Saeed Anwar. I can go on about these Pakistani players that were legends to me when I was growing up. Because of those guys is what got me into cricket, and my older brother used to play cricket, so it's a lot of combination of things for a lot of us, right? So I think again for the people that want to obviously see cricket grow here, the best path is to obviously set pathways where we can create stars. If we can create massive stars in the game, it's going to lead us to obviously better and better players coming out in the future.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
that's a little thing on our USA women's cricket. Anything you want to mention for USA women's?
No,
Before we
just good
get into
luck
some
against
other cricketing
Nepal.
news.
Yeah, no, I just love them. They're playing Nepal. Big shout out to Nepal.
Yeah.
Nepal has a great cricketing nation. Love that
Oh
they're
yeah.
growing as a cricket nation. It's awesome. And I think like things like this really show. Like we mentioned, there's a lot of other sub nations that are coming into this World
Yeah.
Cup. Samoa, Malaysia, they're participating, and it's just the fact they're participating is great. Like we have the European circuit, like everyone. I don't know if you've seen the European circuit, but they're
Yeah.
playing international European circuit cricket now. There's some of those games are pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. They're
but
fun.
like they're getting involved. But yeah, very funny, very entertaining. I saw one the other day. Oh my goodness, the other day they needed 6 off the last over, and the guy took
Uh-huh.
4 wickets in a row. Then he bowls. Then on the 5th ball, they hit him for 6.
No way.
Yeah, no, it was nuts. 4 wickets in a row, and then he gets hit for 6 on the 5th ball to lose the game. It was nuts. But
That's
that's what I mean.
craziness.
Like it's spreading around the world. So good on USA. Good luck against Nepal, and then
Yeah.
Pakistan, Ireland, England. Just got to win 2 out of 3 to guarantee a spot in the Super Six. So
Well, I think they got Pakistan on the lock, right? Like Pakistan will probably be a team that they will definitely get. Looking at the history, right? So,
yeah,
and then Ireland may be tough, but and what's the other team?
England.
England, yeah, England could be tough too. So they got to win one of the England, Ireland,
Yeah.
one. I think Pakistan is probably should be a win for them. So, let's ask a question from the viewers. Who will be the MVP from USA Women's Under-19 cricket team this World Cup? Drop your answers. Let us know who you're supporting for. Uh, the team MVP. Let's say the top performances. Who are we going to see? Coming up to the party. So drop those names into the comments, and let's get into some other world
Yeah, so
cricket news. What's going
we're
on
getting
in
some
world cricket, Adam?
SA20 chat in the chat. People want to talk about the SA20. So comments on that. So SA20, I think is a phenomenal league. Obviously, the South Africans are putting up a good show over there. Some very entertaining games they're putting out from the SA20. So, like, if you go over some of the results from the SA20 so far, match 1 was an absolute whitewash by MI Cape Town. Absolutely whitewashed him. I don't know if Rashid Khan was who got all the wickets there. Let's check and see who got all the wickets here. Brevis, he got some good points there. What did he get there? Let's see. He got all the runs. He got all the wickets.
Which match are you looking at?
So back to number one. The first match was someone took 5 wickets here. Delano Portigator got 5 for 10. Rashid Khan didn't take any wickets. Trent Bolt took 2 wickets. But yeah, he is from, I'm trying to see where he's from. He must be a local South African middle order batter who bowls some right arm medium paces. He took 10 wickets from the very first game. Win for Cape Town there. And then coming into the second game, I think that was the crazy game. Yeah, so match 2 was the Capitals. The Capitals versus the Giants, and it was 209 to 207, which was crazy. If you hit so 209 to 207, they were doing really well. The Capitals were doing well, and then they lost some wickets towards the end there. Weren't able to chase down the 210, but like these high scoring games, like 209 is a pretty impressive high scoring game. Gurbaz scored 89 for them. That was impressive in the chase.
I think there was a match tonight as well, right? It was the Joburg Super Kings and the Super Giants, Durban Super Giants.
Every day, man. I think it's a good league. And there's another close game. Then match 3 was 175 posted, and then the Royals chased it down, only losing 1 wicket. The Super Kings won by 6 runs, DLS method against MI. That was really weird. I believe they had a half a washout game. One of those games was like half washed out. They had play, they came back on, it rained, they came off again. But yeah, no, I think the matches are of high quality.
What's the standing table looking like right now?
Let's have a look at the table. If I head to the table,
Mumbai, Indian, Cape Town, just topping the charts right now.
Yeah, they've played 2 wins and a loss. JSK, they've got 2 wins. They've only played 2 games. Yeah, and 3 losses for the Capitals. They've lost.
Super Giants, Royals.
3. And see the Capitals.
This seems like it may be like. Are these mostly all teams owned by like IPL owners? I'm not entirely sure what the name. But the name sounds like it.
Yeah, so they probably have a little crossover. Obviously, MI has crossover, but like here's a classic example. I'm gonna rein this one home. The East Cape team, who now have 3 losses in a row, led by Markram, who I speak about all the time as being one of the most overrated players in the game. You know, I mean, you don't like talking bad about people, but like statistics don't lie. He doesn't perform very well. They do have Marco Janssen in the team who has been doing very well. So yeah, but it's one of those things like I said, we mentioned this at last podcast too. The margin of difference between these teams are so small. Like the margin is so small. It's 1 moment. It's 1 extra run. It's 1 ball that goes for 6 that isn't caught on the boundary. It's 1 drop catch. Like that's just what the difference is in these teams. It's so close. And even with the international teams, it's also super close. But it's good to see, like, if we can shout out some South Africans, like I don't know if Rickleton is playing is Rickleton, can anyone in the chat let me know which team he's playing for? Because Rickleton has been on a tear. Obviously, he's scored 250. And he is playing in the MLC, which is awesome. He plays for the Orcas. I'm not sure if he's playing in the SA League or if he's made it to any of the matches yet, but he's someone to definitely look out for in these leagues. That's absolutely for sure. And there's definitely some good prospects here inside of the SA, because like they get picked up, like the South African players get picked up for other leagues too. So, like I said, Marco Janssen, he's doing well. Another good bowler they have over there. I don't know if there's too many like Aussies playing in this league, or if any of the Americans are playing in this league.
Yeah, I don't think there's like a lot. I mean, there's players there, but but I think it's their first year, right? Or is this their second
I think it could be the second
season
year.
for SAT 20?
I think it could be the second year.
I think it is their second
Yeah,
year. Yeah, it's
I think it's the second
24,
year.
25. I'm trying to find some updated stats, and I don't even think they're like fully updated.
No, I
Let's
can't
see
see too much over here.
what we can find.
Like Gleason, I think
Right
Gleason's
now, 8
playing it.
matches that have been played so far.
Yeah. Yeah, about 8 matches played so far. And I don't think there's too many some of them that are playing in both things. So like DeCock, he obviously plays for
It's
the
not
Orcas.
updated.
He's playing for the Giants. Gleason is playing for the Giants. I don't know why I keep saying this. So yeah, some of the guys that are playing over here will participate in the MLC, which is cool. Yeah. But yeah, obviously the South Africans, they do contribute to some of the MLC side. So, it's a good league. I think there's obviously all these leagues are kind of popping up and doing well. I think there's been some controversy or there's some discussion around like, should the home nation mix around their international games to fit these players into their local league? So like, for example, Steve Smith went to Australia and scored 100 in his first game for the Sixers. And he's missed most of the season because he's playing in the international team.
Yeah.
And obviously makes a difference to have him in the Big Bash. And they pack the stadium out. They all come to watch him play. He scored like 120 odd. And, I think some of these teams are doing it right.
Yeah.
Like it looks like right now that most of the South Africans are available for their South African league. But like Australians aren't going to be available. They're only going to be available for 1 or 2 games, and they're going to go to Sri Lanka. Then they're going to go to England for the World Test Championship. So they're not going to be there. But in saying that, it's pretty deep. The T20 strength of Australia is pretty deep, but it is nice to have those big names come and play,
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Big money cricket, So, but SAT20 seems like it's doing well. So who makes the final? Let's give a little prediction here.
Who makes the final? I think
who makes the finals from this league?
I think Cape Town. I think Cape Town obviously has a pretty solid lineup. Like having Rashid Khan in the team, obviously, that's always good. Having that there. So they got a pretty solid team. They got Trent Bolt. He still plays in the MLC. So like this team actually is a full MI team. So like they have crossover from MLC to New York. So the same players, they're going to go play in the IPL also for the same team. Is that kind of how that's going to work? Because
so it's one organization, and they have a bunch of pool of players depending on the time and availability and such. So like for their IPL window, they have a squad. For their MLC window, they have a squad. For their SAT20 window, they have a squad. So like it's all managed by the same management and organization, but it's mostly a way to monopolize, right? The organization itself is to have investments in other leagues as well. So that's what they're doing. The money that they're making in the IPL is being invested into a lot of these other leagues where they're acquiring stakes in these teams, and the same thing unfortunately is in MLC. I mean, I say unfortunately because I'm not sure if it's the right way to actually go about growing the game. It's still a great debate, I feel like, in this day and age about the monopolization of cricket and how we're kind of approaching the growth.
Yeah, I really do feel like that all teams deserve their own league, and then any international players they can bring in. Obviously, it just depends on how many number of players you're going to bring into the side is the altercation. Like obviously the MLC, I think, apart from obviously maybe the IPL, is the league with the biggest window of how many people they can bring in, because IPL like all fair game, like anyone can play, there's no limit. Is that correct on the IPL, or is there a little bit of a limit on how many national Indians can play, or is it kind of like free for all over there?
No, I think there's limits, and then you're allowed certain overseas players, So it's a similar setup. You got to have
Probably
obviously
similar.
certain local talent, yeah, certain young talent, and certain overseas talents. So,
Yeah,
that's how it works mostly in a lot of the places, right? But,
yeah,
um, you know the the growth of the game is where my question is, right? Like, how do we actually approach it? Do we monopolize it in this sense, which is again, it's good business, right? They're just overtaking a lot of the pieces, reinvesting into the market. But I don't know, what that does to future cricket implications.
yeah.
But yeah, so the
I
two
feel like
teams for yeah, go ahead.
I feel like one of the things is like technically the game from a money standpoint is never going to grow through
Yeah,
like let's take West Indies for example. If they play test match cricket, they're not going to unless they're playing Australia or England, they're not going to have people fill the seats over there.
yeah,
But if there's like the Caribbean League, T20 League, it's an easy sell to have someone come buy a ticket for a night to come watch the Caribbean League.
yeah,
That makes a lot more money than the test match series. So like it's one of these things where it's like I know they want to split up, the World Test Championship and have two-tiered system and do this and do that. And I think obviously I think every nation should have its own T20 league. They should spread it out so that you can rotate. I think they do a good job. You can kind of rotate between them and get everyone a piece of the pie.
yeah. Yeah, but I
And
think the
then
money should come from within that country, right? So when you're talking about growing these leagues, right? The investment should be from the businesses and the business people over in those countries to own, those leagues. And once they have a piece in the game, I feel like it's better for that country in itself, right? Because, uh, you know, uh, in this scenario, the SAT 20 scenario, for example, IPL owners own most of these teams. I don't know if their interests would align with South African cricket, for example, right? And we're in the same boat with MLC, right? MLC has IPL owners as well, and does their interest align with USA cricket, for example, right? So,
yeah.
those are some I think relevant questions to ask, right?
So I know
And
I know that all of the MLC teams have actually vouched to build their own stadiums. So
yeah,
not all of them link directly to India, but they are required to build a stadium. So, which means
sweet,
that we'll have the three new hubs. Because I think Freedom will probably
that's
take
good.
maybe Carolina
Yeah,
because there isn't a Carolina team. So maybe Freedom takes the Caroliners. Obviously, Texas has their stadium, and
yeah,
then LA and maybe they maybe share their San Francisco stadium, and then Seattle stadium, and then they need to build one in New York. New York need a stadium. So, and
yeah,
the other issue in with obviously the MLC in particular is that country's so big and spread out that technically you're not playing enough games at those
yeah.
stadiums, which is why they only play in two places. But obviously, with building more stadiums, they'll be flying around a little more, at least in the initial stages. So,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And US is a place where, if you cultivate and you plan it right, you can really play to your strengths because you can actually put in any kind of condition you want. You can come to the Northeast, you can go to down south to Florida, you can go out west, and in the Midwest as well. Like all types of places, different places, will provide you different weather conditions, different, pitch conditions, and being able to curate different surfaces, which, could allow us to, really build, our own kind of way to win games, right? Is because, we would know, hey, this place plays here and, this team is coming, we should play here. So we can be more strategic in a sense, right? For example, if West Indies comes, there's always a saying, you bring more spinners against the West Indies team, right? So we go to a place where you have a drier surface where the ball will spin, right? So it's more strategic than anything, and it allows us, with that choice, if we're able to have, fields in all parts of the country. So,
yeah,
that's the, something that I'm looking forward to with MLC, and all teams coming up with fields, and hopefully New York, we get an international level field. That would be pretty sick,
that would be
um,
great.
for us to get. But What else we
Question
got going
coming
on?
in.
MLC.
Question coming in from Dom over here. He says, "Is Constance's style of play too aggressive to play Test cricket?"
No.
So that's the question coming in. I mean, I think the obviously Australia has to fill the shoes of David Warner, who was obviously an aggressive opening bat, and they had
Yeah.
Kawadra at the other end that just plodded along. Gets an odd 70 every now and again, just being at the other end. And I think one of the things that you do need to have is you do need to take on the bowling at some point. So like, he does the reverse, he does the ramps and stuff. But like, if you look at someone like Matt Hayden, that used to be the, one of the best openers, could argue the best opener of all time. He would very often dance down the wicket and put pressure back on the bowler to bowl in his spot. He would like be the big enforcer taking on the bowler. And I think when someone like Boomer is bowling and he basically has the number of every Australian batter, doing those T20 moves, playing flashy, coming down the wicket, ramping, you're trying to put the bowler off their game, which worked.
Exactly.
It absolutely
exactly
worked.
what he did.
It changed the field.
Exactly
It
what
made
he
the different
did.
dynamic. Yeah. And it released the
I loved
pressure.
it.
Yeah, I think it was great. And I think that is what we're going to see more in Test cricket. We're going to see more of this flashy stuff, whether it's Rishad Pant with the flashy stuff, whether it's Jadeja with the flashy stuff, whether it's Constance with the flashy stuff. Obviously, Bazball has been in here for a couple of years now with the Bazball, the aggressive batting. I think it's going to be there. I think it's going to stay. I think it's good. But obviously, it's one of those things where if he keeps getting out for 30s, they'll weigh up like, is it worth it? But it may be worth it in the sense of like it throws off the other team so much that it like makes everyone else bat a little better or in a better position than feeling the pressure. Because those first 3 tests, they were pumped. Australia was pumped. Just rolled those first 3 tests.
Yeah. No, I think it's, for players such as, like Constance, right? Like he brings a different dynamic to the table, right? I mean, and you need exactly somebody like that to punch back, especially to a guy like Bumrah, because he's been on top of his game and you put him off as a batsman, that, Adam, I know that, if a bowler is on top of his game, even you're going to try and do something different to put him off of his line and length, right? So he has to do something different. It's a game of cat and mouse, right? And within that contest, he prevailed, but it doesn't mean that it's always the right approach and it's always the right thing to do. This Bazball thing in the Bazball era, I think it's good depending on the style of play and how you fit within that team, like how Constant, fit into that team, but you can't have an entire batting lineup have an approach of like, oh, we're going to Bazball it out, right? You still need a guy like Pujara who can, bat for days, right? You still need players with patience, time to play Test cricket. And I think, again, the pace of the game has gotten, so fast that, they want to score quick. They want to get Test cricket done within 3 days, 4 days. And I feel like that's where we're headed. Now from 5-day cricket, we're going to come to 4-day cricket within the next 10, 15, 20 years. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because the games are not being finished in 3 days, 4 days, because they're scoring quick runs, getting out quick. There's not a lot of concentration and time that somebody can spend on the crease. So that's lacking big time these days.
Yeah, if you consider all those tests, like obviously the MCG boxing test went 5 days, but then you rolled to Sydney and it was done in 3 days.
Yeah.
They almost got sanctioned, actually. The Sydney cricket ground, they were declared the worst pitch of the summer, but they did avoid a sanction because apparently now they do demerit points for the grounds. They like give them like a strike in a way for making the pitches too spicy or too whatever. And I mean, like that pitch was absolutely green. Like it was basic. I don't know if you've ever played this game, but in Australia we play what's called lawn bowls, and that looked like a lawn bowls pitch. Like it looked like a golf green. It was so green. It shouldn't have been that green. No way it should have been that green. There was too much bounce. There was too much pop in that wicket. I've never seen it like that before. It was just too much. Like there has to be some level. Like if they want cricket to go 5 days,
I like it. I don't know, man. Yeah,
I know you love this. You're a spicy
disagree.
Wicket.
I think they need
You're
to
a spicy wicket guy.
No, I no, but that's what I'm saying. I think they need to up the skills instead of, us complaining about the surfaces.
Up the
Learn how to
skill.
go bat on those surfaces, So yeah,
I
batsmen
think
from
this is
the
our
80s and
biggest.
90s and 70s played on uncovered pitches,
This is our
So
biggest
that's
disagreement. Yeah, I'm all
well, I
for
mean, I'm
because like
telling you,
one of the
man.
things is
Imagine. Okay. Imagine playing Jeff Thompson and Dennis Lilly on an uncovered pitch, without a damn helmet,
you're gonna
and
die.
you had to
You're
go
gonna
face
die.
those guys.
You're more likely to die
Exactly, on
in that
uncovered
situation
pitches.
than having electric chair. You're more likely to survive electric chair.
No, I mean, but so there's some players who dominated them as well, right? So,
Yes.
that's what I'm saying. Like the pitches, I think is great. Those kind of pitches are great for Test cricket. It's just the quality of batsmanship has gone down at the Test level. I mean, and it's not the same as it was. You would say 20, 30 years ago. Because of the concentration and lapses, and again, the inability to play on these green tint surfaces. But I love that
Yeah.
surface, man. I mean, somebody who can bat on that and make runs, then they become, a true Test player, man.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
so
one of the things is though is that like you have to consider because it's a 5-day format.
yeah,
To like you want money wise, you want to make it go 5 days, and it won't go 5 days if you keep making spicy pitches. You know what I mean? It's like technically the cricket company making the test or the
yeah,
host nation is losing out on 2 days worth of money from
yeah,
a cricket
yeah,
game because you're missing out on 2 days of money. So that's the other thing. Like I think we want to
yeah.
see a little like not like obviously like I said, yes, you want to have the
Yeah.
skill. Is a skill from
You don't
this
want to see a
era.
road either,
Um okay, so we have a question coming in. So big shout out. We have Will from Trailer Park Sports Network in the chat. Big shout out to Will. Got to go
Sweet.
follow him. He has an awesome channel. Big USA Team USA super fan over here. Getting involved in cricket, loves his cricket. His question is, why are there warm-up games for the World Cup? Great question, Will. So the biggest thing here with cricket is that we just mentioned the pitches. So cricketers play on different. Obviously, the ball bounces and the pitch conditions are different from country to country. So if you play on a cricket pitch in South Africa, it's going to be different from a cricket pitch in Australia, different from a cricket pitch in America, different from a cricket pitch in Malaysia. And they would have never played on a cricket pitch in Malaysia before. So they have warm up matches so that they can get used to the bounce and the conditions. Maybe it keeps low, maybe it bounces high, maybe it skids on, maybe there's a little less grass, maybe there's more cracks than usual. So that's
Yeah.
the reason for warm-up games, so they get used to the match conditions in that country. And yeah, that's probably reason number one. And the reason number two would be kind of like as a fairness thing to kind of like get everyone there, get everyone, interacting with each other, have a couple games because the players may have been jotting all around the world, coming to one place for one
Yeah.
tournament. So getting the teams together, getting so they can get their lineups right. Maybe they want to test some bowlers, test some batters. Maybe someone that was going to be the 12th, 13th man, they put him into the warm up to see how they go. That kind of thing. That's kind of the big reason for the warm ups is test the surface, test any players you want to test out. Anything else you want to add, Nabil?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just, how you would scrimmage, right? On a school team here in baseball or any other sport, before a tournament game or something, like a varsity team would go in and scrimmage a junior varsity team, right? To go prepare, for their tournament. So it's similar in that sense within that league tournament, as Adam mentioned, just to get the feel of the conditions and the match conditions and the surfaces and the weather, weather as well of, how they're supposed to play within those conditions and how their bodies react. If baseball, for example, when teams travel to Colorado, Rockies Stadium, players have to have different training for that week because they have to breathe at a higher elevation. So they have to train for that, right? So same thing, in this sense where they just have to go train and be ready for match for the tournament matches through these warm-up games. So I think they're critical, especially in now, like if I'm talking about Test cricket, for example, back in the day, the tours used to be, if it's a 3 or 5 test series, you would be there like 2 months or 2.5 months before the test series started, to play 4 or 5 good games before the series got rolled off. Now we don't have that timeline, and the test cricketers, mostly do their own thing by playing county cricket and doing whatever, because most of them don't get time in T20 leagues or in, the other white ball, games. So they're mostly playing either domestic cricket or test cricket, right? And for them, there's a lot of waiting time between, matches where they have to, wait maybe, 2 years to play a series. So I think for them, there needs to be, where if it's a test series coming up, let's say if Pakistan currently is about to travel to West Indies, they should go spend 2 months there getting used to the conditions, and then, you get the series started. So, it's a good battle. And same thing with India, Australia. India was there. I believe they played 1 or 2, warm-up games, but not nearly enough for such a big series, right? You got to go there. You got to be there for 2.5, 3 months getting ready for the series, and then you have, good chance at winning the series.
Yeah, it's much
if you're
different
used to
now.
the conditions.
It feels much different now. It's much shorter time frames. And
Yeah.
then, but one of the things for the women's game in particular is because in the men's game, an international team would come and play a domestic squad, or they'd come and play what's in Australia called the President's 11, so like a second 11 squad. For the women, they don't have the luxury of playing a domestic women's team, so they're playing amongst themselves in the warm-up because they don't have, in Malaysia, they don't have an established cricket system, so they're going to play each other internally, and then they would just pick someone not in their pool. So USA is playing England, not in the pool, going to play Nepal, not in their pool. And it would work across for all the teams. I would play someone not in their pool. But we probably will go back and play New Zealand. We only have to win 2 out of 3 games to guarantee a spot. Even one win may get us through. We have to just be top 3 out of 4. And then we would play over into Pool C, which would include New Zealand and South Africa, which we already have beaten this past month. So it's good signs for Team USA. The actual game actually begins in 3 minutes. Coin toss has probably already been taken, and they will first ball will be in 3 minutes time over in Malaysia. So yeah,
let's take a look.
Head to Twitter. If you guys want to follow Team USA, if you guys want to follow Team USA, best thing to do, head to the official Twitter of USA Cricket. They post every hour updates, and they do have like a Cricket Club's clickable link to watch the scores live. Obviously, it'll be like 4 hours of cricket being played, but they will post obviously a halftime score, and I'll probably retweet that later to let you guys know what's happening.
Drop it in the chat here. The
Drop it in the chat. Cricket Club's link, USA official, USA Cricket official.
Here.
There it is.
Yeah, Cricket Clubs, with Malaysia Cricket Association, you can view the scorecard. USA Cricket Women's Under-19 won the toss, and they've elected to bowl first in this match. So that's a quick update.
Who's bowling first? USA or Malaysia?
USA Women is bowling first in this warm-up game. They've won the toss and elected to bowl.
My internet is getting fried over here.
Yeah.
That's we just hit the hour mark, guys. Hit the hour mark. That was a pretty solid pod right there. Thank you, Will, for your question.
Thank you everybody for the engagement and questions. I mean, we got anything else? We're giving another 30 seconds, a minute to drop any other questions you guys have.
That's it for me. Let's go Team USA. Upcoming matches, I guess right now against Nepal, then Pakistan, Ireland, England. I think we got this. I think we make it to the Super Sixes. Make sure to follow along the reverse scoop. Following the reverse scoop, check out the YouTube. This recording will be on Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, all the places you get your podcast from, and all links below for all the goodies. Support local New Milford Cricket. New Milford Cricket got there. We've got the season wrap presentation night coming up in a couple of days.
Yeah,
was it 2 weeks away?
January 25th.
January 25th. Got to put on the calendar. Got to make sure I'll be there. Got to give
John Pettibon Community Center. If you're here in the New Milford area, want to check out New Milford Cricket Club, you're most welcome to come out there, enjoy the party, be part of the raffle. live raffle that we're going to be doing to, do some fundraising for youth cricket development, as well as we may be doing a live auction. We're looking for sponsors to, bring, some things, and, come out there, enjoy the party, enjoy the food, and yeah, bring some cash
I have
to,
one question though. One
yeah,
big question. Is there
yeah,
gonna be biryani there? Is
absolutely.
There will be biryani,
Biryani,
guys.
biryani
There
will
will
be there, man.
Guys, you gotta come for the
Biryani, chicken
biryani.
tikka masala, some
You gotta
garlic
come for the
naan.
food, guys. The food.
Oh
The
yeah.
food, guys. The biryani next level.
Yeah, biryani and chicken tikka masala and garlic naan as well. I
Woo!
love that stuff,
Garlic naan, let's go.
Oh
Let's
yeah, oh
go.
yeah.
Love that.
So, we're gonna
So
be
good.
getting it, from one of the Indian restaurants in the area. I'll drop the name next week on the pod for you guys, but
Perfect.
definitely check out the membership sections in, on the channel. If you wanna, support youth cricket development, as well as check out our merchandise, and check out Adam's, TikTok and Instagram. And
While I'm
yeah, I
still
think
here.
that yeah, we're still here. We're still here,
We're still
racking out
here. We're still
content.
here. So, guys, this very well may be the last week. I'm personally streaming on the TikTok ban. We don't know, but you can
Yeah,
find me and Nabil will be on Instagram, YouTube, will be everywhere else next
absolutely.
week. So, yeah, let's go. What a pod. What a pod
Absolutely.
right
What a
there.
pod. What a pod. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And Adam, thanks again, bro. Until next week. Guys, good luck USA women's team. Until next week, Nabil Khan and Adam Bannon from the Reverse Scoop calling it a night. Have a good week.